Okay, let's start this over. As always, I didn't hit the mute button. I know. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that, brother. So here we are. Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the expert plumber, going on YouTube Live. If you've never been here before, and this is the first video you're saying, this may be pre-recorded, so you may want to go back and check out some of the other videos. This is a live that we do every Monday where we answer questions for apprentices, plumbers, people in the trades that want to get better, or company owners wanting to learn social media or what we're doing. So I believe that I've got the audio fixed, but what we're going to do is, you see, I have a special guest in here, Dimitri from Roofing Insights. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Welcome
Thanks for
to
having me.
Texas. No, this is great. So, Dimitri and I have been hanging out today. We've actually done a few videos together, went and had a lunch, got to visit. And it's really neat because I met Dimitri in LA at Vid Summit almost 2 years ago. And he was the only trades person I'd ever seen at a social media conference at the time. The coolest thing about it was, we sat and talked, got to visit, got to network, got to know each other. And I was so impressed by what he was doing that I followed him over the years. I've stuck with him. I've paid attention to make sure that, man, I just kept up with what was going on. But Dimitri, what got you started in social media?
Budget. Didn't have money to buy ads, to buy TV, buy radio. So it was my first year in business. And the cheapest way to advertise is you have your phone, you have your Wi-Fi connection, and just throw yourself out there. So that's what started me.
Neil, I got a deal here. No, that is not my grandson. Okay, I know I look old, but man, come on, that's tough. So yeah, I know, Will. The mute button is killing me. Will keeps saying he's going to take the mute button away from me, and he probably should, because it messes me up more than it helps me. But I do use it. And I don't know if you know the Urban Explorer. He man, over in the United Kingdom, he is a cool guy living in a van life now. Does some neat things over there. Jumps in here all the time. Love seeing him in here. So we talk about the trades because that's where we both are. But we were talking earlier in one of the videos. We have marketing people. We have big companies that aren't even in the trades, in anything at all, reaching out saying, look, what are y'all doing in social media and how are y'all doing it? What's the biggest surprise phone call that you've got from anybody just saying, hey, I want to talk to you about social media? And you're like, wait, why are y'all calling me?
Well, I have, first of all, I have huge companies reaching out in my space. Like, I do 4 or 5 million a year. Like, I'm not big company by no means in the roofing industry, but I have people who run 40, $50 million companies coming to me for advice, share ideas. I have billion-dollar companies now, like shingle manufacturers in my space who are consulting with me because I've reach audience. I build audience, and I have plenty of videos that have done really, really well. So I understand my audience. I understand how to create content. Something that big companies miss a lot. So when you have billion-dollar companies struggle with a message, I actually know a lot of marketers. Like, for example, I have James Hardy, a manufacturer. I've been in their marketing department in their downtown Chicago, their headquarters. I know marketing directors for at least $5 billion plus brands. So I consult with them, I teach them. Sometimes they call me with a challenge. Sometimes they call me and say, hey, here's the problem we have. How do we fix that? Because, people will be trolling billion-dollar companies, and some of those companies don't know how to deal with hate, with the warranty, with the message. So they have to clean it up a little bit, and I help them.
And the funny thing is, and this is the one thing that I've noticed, because a lot of these big companies, every video they make is to sell something. Mm-hmm. Every single video. How many videos do you make to sell anything?
I mean, 1 in 100 maybe. I think recently, because we start monetizing channel a little bit more, I don't call it sales. Like, my team knows it's the hardest thing for me to ask for a sale. That's the video that I'll take 50 recuts and I'll be cursing at myself like I can't do it. Sometimes I'll quit. And the sales for me, it's inviting people to my conference. But technically, you're asking them to buy a ticket, and I hate it. So I do it a little bit more often because I have to fill up a room. Let's say with the December conference, and where you pay for all the speakers and stuff. So So you have to self-promote yourself a little bit more often than I used to, but it's for me, it's not a sales. The guys come have fun with us, and we still give away a lot of stuff for free.
And that's really cool because, me and I tell my guys in my videos, look, I like teaching people about product. I like telling them about things. I like literally giving them options. And it's almost like going out to a customer. I don't just go in and say, look, this is what it'll be to fix this. This is what it'll be to fix it. This is what it'll be to replace it right. And then this is what it'll be if you want the Cadillac version where you're never going to have a problem, yada, yada, yada. And I truthfully think that options are huge, especially in plumbing. Plumbing, electrical, maybe HVAC, roofing may be a little bit different because don't get me wrong, there's still repairs. And I know a lot of roofers that are like, look, we don't do repairs. It's either a replacement or we're not
I teach
doing
people
it.
to do repairs.
And oh my God, repairs are great because you can build a relationship with that customer. And if you'll come in and do a repair when everybody else is trying to sell them a $20,000 roof and you're selling them a $2,000 repair, man, you're their guy. You've got a customer for life.
And another thing is people don't wake up in the morning hoping they're going to buy a new car today or they're going to need a new roof today. They wake up in the morning usually hoping, hey, I'm going to maintain my property. I'm going to do another oil change. I don't need a car yet. I mean, we're suckers. Like which dealership do you think sells more cars? The one with a service center next to it or the one without? Which roofing company will sell more roofs? The one with a repair center or one without? So I teach people all the time, like people, as a matter of fact, we just did this trend. Check this out. So last week we looked at analytics at Google. There's a 24,000 searches for roof repairs per month on Google. There's 3,700 for roof replacement. People are not searching for roof replacements. Now, if you're that company who just want big tickets, you're going to be the loser here.
And you got to look at it because those are big numbers to look at. And Neil says he's been an electrician today, had to do the electrical in the van. You got to love that. And here's a good one. Dennis Lavchenko, and I hope I got that right, says, when you first start, how much money do you get? Now, I'm assuming that you're talking about when you start doing YouTube or something like that, and you don't get much. We talked about this earlier. Your roofing company was supporting your YouTube. My plumbing company was supporting my YouTube. Man, there's not a lot of money to be made when you first start out, but the potential long run can be great.
When I started, I have $2,000 to my name. I spent $2,000 to wrap my vehicle with my name. I did even before I have a license to actually do the work. I couldn't afford even townhome for 2 months. We moved with my family in my in-laws' basement. And 3 months later, finally saved enough money to rent an apartment. 2 years later in the roofing business, I bought the freaking place. Love it. And pretty fast. You don't need a lot of money to start. You can start. I tell people all the time, drop me anywhere in the United States. That's because market I understand, maybe Europe too, but drop me anywhere in the United States with a cell phone and $100, and not only will I survive, but within 30 days, I'll open business there. I mean, that's what I did years ago. So I came here in 2005, and for first 30 days, I was sleeping in the car. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody. I have like $5 on me after first 2-3 weeks. Literally spent nights at the park. In the night in Chicago, September, I would go in the lake. I would clean myself, wash myself with the soap. I mean, that's where I started. But I'm willing to prove people that it's still doable today.
You bet.
United States, and here's what I want to tell you. United States is the only country that I know of that you can come with a zero experience to the trades. I don't care if you want to paint, if you want to install roofs, they will teach you how to do it, and they will pay you, and they'll pay you pretty well. You can get paid like 12, 15, 20 bucks an hour to paint, and then within 6 months you can open your own business. I mean, it's unheard of. You don't need to go to trade school.
It's not bad, and he's honest. And if you look at it, and Bill Rigsby says, love your videos. They've actually made me consider a career in plumbing. I lost my job of 10 years permanently when the epidemic hit. What would be your advice for a potential plumber starting out? And it's what he just said. It's whether you're a plumber, an electrician, a roofer, an HVAC tech, a painter, a landscaper. It really doesn't matter. get a job. Get a job as an apprentice. You will get to learn on the job, earn while you learn, and know coming in. And I tell people all the time in my courses, know what your end game is. Where do you want to be? Do you want to own your own company? You said it. I knew then I could never work for anybody else again. And if I were to get a job right now to learn something, I could say, okay, I'm working for an education. So that's my goal here, is to learn. But let me ask you this. You talk to a lot of people in a lot of the trades because you help so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you figured out to be a roofer in Minnesota when you were headed there. What trade would you get into, or how would you pick what trade to get into if you were moving to Dallas right now? And I'm just going to pick Dallas because that's
Sure.
where I am. But if you were moving somewhere, what trade would you get into, or how would you determine that?
I think I still would do a little bit of market research. Just look at demand. I mean, you can go to Facebook, Craigslist. I mean, check anything for the traffic. Like, it doesn't matter what to do. I mean, you can open landscaping company today, and I actually have done landscaping on the weekends. And I remember within 10 days, I picked 10 clients for entire summer. I was charging, it was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was charging $50 per cut, and I was making $500-600 every single Saturday. So if I would move to Dallas today, I would just check different like ads. Who is hiring? Where's the biggest demand? So if you go, like, for example, in roofing in Dallas, it's probably going to be oversaturated, right? People are still going to be hiring depending what you want to do. If you want to be labor, if you want to be in management position, it's up to you. But let's say you move to Dallas and you see that no one's in roofing hiring, but you see huge demand in landscaping. Everybody needs gas cut, and there's not enough people there. Or maybe, painters have the biggest demand. Maybe it's plumbers.
You never know.
Just do, or I don't know what market looks like in LA. I don't know what Atlanta looks like today. Just do the basic research. See, what do you see the most ads on? Like, for example, I have ice dam business, ice dam removal, seasonal business in Minnesota. 3 years ago, we drove all the way to Boston because Boston have, within 2 weeks, 100 inches of snow. So it created a whole bunch of icicles. We made $50,000 in 9 days, charging $450 an hour for 2-man crew. It was amazing business. What did I do is I went to local Craigslist. So I have ice dam, back up a little. I have ice dam machine. It's a steamer machine, cost about $5,000. I put it on a Craigslist for sale. This guy called me from Boston, Massachusetts, and to Minneapolis, right? And he asked me if I'm willing to ship it or whatever. I'm like, where are you? And he said, Boston. It's 18-hour drive. And then he told me, I'm willing to drive to pick it up. I'm like, how desperate can you be, to drive all the way from Boston to Minneapolis? So I went to local Craigslist of Boston. Every other ad was ice dam removal. People did not have equipment, didn't know what to do. Wow. So it was Wednesday I received that call. And we are in Minnesota dying for work because it was so slow in the wintertime for us. And I have employees. I have to find a job. So I came to my guys, said, guys, who's willing to drive all the way to Boston? Because we don't have ice dams yet, but they are over there dying. So by Friday, we left. Friday at noon, we left. Saturday morning, we drove all the way through the night. Saturday morning, we're starting jobs. And when I arrived there, and this is a personal story, I can cry now. So when we arrived, I have like $350 in my account. That's how low on cash we were at that time. It was February, end of winter. So we arrived $350 within 3 days. I have like $5,000 in my account. I did not have enough money on my account to pay even for 3 nights at the hotel. And I took 3 guys with me. And that's faith, right? So no second chances, just go in. If you have plan B, plan A is not going to happen. So we drove all. Yes, but here's what you do. You just look where demand is. I mean, in my industry, we have storm chasers. We have crazy markets like, right? Sometimes in Florida is good. Right after hurricane, you can go and kill it for like 2 years. And 2 years after a hurricane, if they don't have major events, everybody local is struggling for work. Do your research.
Yeah, and I like that. And, I like this here again. Billy says, should I go to trade school or union? That's an option, but it's not the only way to go. And look at what Dimitri was saying. Do your research. Go to a town, and I tell people this in my mini course or my plumbing course all the time. If you want a job in plumbing, number one, figure out what kind of plumber you want to be. Same thing in roofer. Do you want to be residential? Do you want to be commercial? It's two completely different jobs. But the neat thing about it is find out what kind of tradesperson you want to be. Do the research. Look at the TV. Who's advertising? Because if they're advertising, chances are they're selling jobs and they're busy. Or drive to downtown. You can drive through downtown Dallas right now. Look at the job sites that have cranes on them. If you want to do commercial work and say, hey, these guys are busy because they've got a big job going on, and check it out and see what the opportunities are. So Super J wants to know where you're from. If you didn't hear, Dimitri's from Minnesota. He's not from Minnesota.
Originally from Siberia, Russia, the coldest place on earth.
So that's why he moved to Minnesota, because it felt warm. You know, who would move to Minnesota? I mean, really? Somebody with family. The Mockingbird says, what do you think is the best way to start an apprenticeship? It seems like everyone wants somebody with experience. And to get in the union, you don't have to have a lot of experience. Matter of fact, you don't have to have any. I've seen them bring apprentices in that had no experience at all. And it's a great place to learn and a great place to grow. But, you know, it's up to you. If you knew somebody right now, say in Minnesota, that wanted to be a roofer, how would you tell them to start that? And I don't mean they want to own a company. They want to get a job and learn how to do roofing. What's the best way to start?
I would first search for a reputable conservative company. I think we have to be smart these days what company to work for. There's a lot of bad players. I work for a guy who went bankrupt at the end of the day. And to be honest with you, if he would not file bankruptcy, I still could be working for him. Like, I never dreamed to have a business. I never dreamed to employ people. I wouldn't mind, managing people. I always wanted to be the best of the best I can be. But I went and literally learned what not to do. Rob and Peter to pay Paul. In my industry, I see it all the time. Like right now, I have one company in my town, big company. About 7 guys got screwed, sales guys. You're talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales commission. So they trusted this company, and within 3 years, this one business owner, he screwed so many people that 7 of them now willing to come talk to me, just expose the company. So think about this. If you go and work for a company for, let's say you give them 2 years of your life, and they screw you out of commissions, or they'll never promote you, or they go out of business, or they do something shady, file bankruptcy. We have companies like in Chicago recently, I've seen Attorney General got involved. So if it's not ethical company, if they're known for, in my industry, it would be something like waiving deductible. So if the company maybe they're doing millions, but they are not ethical, you don't want to be associated with them, because it'll be harder for you later to either start on your own or go work for someone else. So my advice is do your research, just like homeowners are reading reviews on the companies. You read the reviews on company before you go work for them.
Yeah, and it's a great way to look at it, because there's good and bad plumbing companies. There's good and bad every kind of companies. So here's one here. I have a full-time job and practice, and I want to get that, practice drain cleaning and unclogging on my spare time here in Texas. I would like to know what I'd have to do to be legal, because my local plumbers are giving me grief. Well, the reason they're giving you grief, Jose, is number one, what you're doing is illegal. And I don't mean that bad, but you're not allowed to go out and clean people's drains in Texas. You're not allowed to do plumbing in Texas without a license. What you would really need to do, if that's what you want to do, is get a job as a plumber with a plumbing company, become an apprentice, learn the trade of plumbing, and get your license to do it right. If you say you're practicing drain cleaning, what that means is number one, you don't know what you're doing. I'm assuming you're not practicing it for free, and chances are you could get out and you could mess somebody up, run a sewer machine in the wrong spot or a hydrojet or whatever, and it could be bad. Zach Thompson, and this is really a good one. What do you think about the PHCC apprenticeship? And I think PHCC is great. I think they've got a great training program. And it's really funny because Dimitri and I were talking earlier about organizations and combining trades and what we all learn. It's all the same. And what I mean by that is when I make videos about plumbing and getting into the trades, you could take out the word plumbing and put in roofing or electrical or HVAC. And it's funny because I spoke to somebody that was associated with PHCC. Actually, it was this weekend, and said, look, if I were on the national leadership board, the first thing I would do is change PHCC to REPHCC, make it roofers, electricians, plumbers, and HVAC techs, because I think that we need representation at the Capitol. We need to make sure the trades are good. We need to make sure that everything we're all doing together, what we can help and support each other. And I don't think that it's just big organizations that do it. But, man, when it comes to PHCC's training, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's good. Most of my apprentices wish that we were doing that instead of the union. So that's a very interesting deal. What do you think about training and training schools that teach people, roofing, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, stuff like that?
For one, I think there's huge demand for them. Most businesses, whether it's material, we live in a very interesting country. It's money driven, it's a sales driven. So unfortunately, that's what I see in my industry. I don't know if it's true in plumbing. For some reason, manufacturers are not interested to teach you everything you should know. It's weird because if you install products and you don't always do it right, there's always going to be more work. It's a really weird philosophy. The same reason a lot of roofers in my space don't install the best products. They don't want to class 4 because hail comes all the time. You're going to replace it anyway. Might as well go with the cheaper. So what's happening in the training world, it's not a good business people think. So manufacturers don't invest a lot in it because if you're not training, it's a really easy way not to pay those warranty calls because, he didn't do it right. It's not our liability. For liability reason, they don't teach. I think personally, so I have roofing school. I actually have 200 companies in the school, and I bring in a lot of industry experts to teach not only how to on the field, but also how to run your business in general, how to understand, your accounting. Just because you learn, numbers doesn't mean that business numbers. Like business accounting is very different, profit loss statements, all of that. So what I teach people all the time, learn the business from the best for people actually in the field. There's no one better to learn than established company that's profitable. Like if you would want to open, fast food chain, go learn from McDonald's. It's not that hard. Reverse engineer it. I mean, they've done it, and essentially all the Burger Kings, Chick-fil-A's, they all copy the model. In the auto industry, everybody learned from Ford. So go and try to learn from the best. As far as school goes, we don't have a lot of options. We have some licensing by government, which is honestly subpar. You'll be better off almost learning it by yourself. So it's not popular. It's not there. It's not required. In Texas, you're not even required to be a licensed roofer. Anybody can install a roof. So.
And that part is true, and I know that. And it's funny because they almost tried making the plumbing license like that with the last legislature. And it's like, guys, come on, really? You're putting the people's health at risk doing that. So that's kind of interesting to me. The neat thing about it is, and I want to go back to Billy here, it says, I'd love to learn, but also one day be your own boss. And I love the fact that the trades are a great opportunity for that because the trades, number one, you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have a ton of money to get into it. He started with a little money. I started with nothing. I mean, when I got out of into the trades, I literally had quit high school, got a job as a plumber. And it's just like we talked about earlier on social media. We all start with 0 followers. Well, whenever we start the trades, and I have people ask me this all the time, how do I get started? I don't know anything about it. Well, I didn't know anything about it when I started. And Dimitri didn't know anything about it when he started. Now, maybe when we started our companies, but when he started learning roofing, he knew nothing. When I started learning plumbing, I knew nothing. And the thing is, you can get out there and learn. With social media these days, you can learn more than we could have ever imagined learning before we started. But yet people say, look, I can't learn anything. That's crazy.
Well, learning is one thing, but reinvesting in yourself is another thing. When I started getting my first construction jobs, and I've done like 10, I've done installation for a living. I've worked for a year and a half in a cabin shop. I worked 2 years for the builder. The thing is, it doesn't matter where you start. You have to early on invest in yourself. Like I always have mentality and discipline. From every dollar I make, certain amount had to go back to my tools. When I was making $12 an hour every week, out of like 700-800 bucks per week, I would spend at least $100 on tools. After 2 years, I had more tools than my boss did. I mean, I have a full truck, drills and everything. I went from, I think, 1375 when I worked for a general contractor. In 2 years, I have 9 raises from 1375 to $25 an hour. What didn't change, it's amount of money I was putting back. It was about 10%. So now apply that to in my businesses. I apply it to my marketing budget. I spend about 5% back on marketing. So if I do $100,000 in sales, I spend about $5,000 back in marketing. So if I do 1 million in sales, I spend about $50,000. Social media, cameras, whatever. You just keep it's one thing to learn new thing, but it's another thing to invest in that education. Every time you go to expo, to conference, it costs money. Money has to come from somewhere.
And I love the way you put that, because it's you've got to invest in yourself, and you have to use those tools wisely. And where I'm going with that is, when I walked into social media marketing world, the very first social media conference I'd ever gone to, I could have walked in and said, wow, I've learned all this new stuff, but I don't know what to do, and just gone home and thought, wow, man, one day I'm going to do this. But I walked out of social media marketing world saying, look, I'm changing right now. And when I mean right now, I changed right then. And we came back to the office. I came back to the office, started doing research. I did research all night, Friday night when I got back, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday we made changes. So it was implementation immediately. And you've got to invest in yourself. You've got to give yourself new tools to work with. A carpenter, when he messes up, does not blame the tools. He says, I have to learn to use these tools better. So I love that Dimitri put it that way. You've got to buy new tools. You have to learn them in order to grow. I want to say hey to Jesse Spot from Plumber over in Greece. Got to love that. Julie's in here, Big Bear Plumbing. Hey, Roger and guest. My guest today is Dimitri with Roofing Insights, has a great YouTube channel, one of the first tradespeople I ever met in social media that was already doing it. So it's been great for me to watch him grow and learn from him. So I've loved that. Hey, good day, Roger. What system do you use to pay employees? We're hourly. We've been union, so we've been straight hourly. We are looking at getting into hourly plus commission and things like that. And I guess that'd be good to talk about, because most roofing salespeople are almost all commission or salary plus commission, right?
Yes.
Do you have any problem with people maybe trying to sell a roof they really don't need, or anything like that? Because that's what a lot of people fear from plumbers. A plumber's going to run a camera and say, oh my God, we need to replace all the sewer under your house. And they really don't.
I think it depends on the company and ethics and business owner. Like, for example, we do a lot of insurance claims, and I remember very early on, one of my employees who work in insurance supplements came to me and showed me paperwork, said, Dimitri, so we're getting paid extra $300 for we didn't do this item. And he looked at me, and I look at him, and he's like, what do we do here? And I asked him, what are the options? And he realized, here's what's happening. If you're the boss and you always do what's right, and your employees know that you will never charge extra dollar, if they know you will never sell the job that shouldn't be sold, if they know it for a fact that you're not shady, that they're going to get in trouble, they will never test it, right? Because I will go and refund. My team knows if I caught you doing that, like in 5 years in business, never happened to me. But if I would have caught them, they know I would refund the money. Now, there's a lot of business owners who will take any money from any sale, from any job. insurance companies being exploded in my business, at least. Like, roofing companies always overcharge insurance companies. That's why a lot of roofers have a bad name. So to answer that, if you have a high standards, your employees, your salespeople will follow it. If you're shady, if they see you closing your eyes and looking other way, they might do the same.
No, and that's a great way to put it, and I love that, because one thing that we looked at is, we always go back in, we look at the videos that people do before. That way, whenever they go to the house, they run a camera, they do a test. We always go back in and look at it. And it's like, wait, I don't see what you're talking about. But it surprised my guys one day, because I literally told them, I said, look, I ever catch you ripping off somebody like that, I'm going to help them file charges on you. I will give the police all the evidence I can to show them that you ripped them off. And they're like, wait, you do that? It's like, absolutely. I don't want that reputation. I don't want to be that guy.
Yep.
Ronaldo says, what can you expect to learn as a year one service plumber apprentice? And Ronaldo, it really depends on where you're at. If you are, if you're in the Dallas area, plumber apprentices start out at about $17 an hour. What do plumbers make up in Minnesota? Do you have any idea what ballpark is, anything like that? So down in Dallas right now, plumbing scale is about 34. Apprentices start out at half that. Ricky Ricardo, business is going great. And Damian, I want to talk to you because I like this. It says military plumber here. We are not required licenses to do our job on base. However, you're trying to get your Texas license. Now, the challenge is I do not have a master to work under for the hours to test. Any advice? Damian, I'd find out, number one, where are you headed? Because, look, I've communicated with Lisa Hill. I've had a plumber that worked for me. He was an apprentice when he worked for me. He ended up going to get his license, and we were able to get him credit from what he did in the military. He built Bergs. He did the plumbing on them. He did a lot of things, but we were able to get him some hours for that, and it was enough to cut the hours that he had to do to get his license down. So it was really good. So my question to you is, where are you moving to? Who are you going to work for? Who do you want to go to work for? You're going to have to get your journeyman license. You're going to have to either get your tradesman, your journeyman, or something like that before you can get your master. So that's one thing that I'd look at. And Ricky Ricardo, life is great for both of us. Dimitri and I have talked pretty much all day today, so it's kind of been nice. But the neat thing is, business is going well. He's got multiple businesses. He does not just roofing, but teaching people social media, teaching people how to grow their trades business. How much does your business increase each year? 5%, 10%? What kind of growth pattern?
20, 30% on
20
average.
or 30% every year? Good deal. So, and ours has not. We've maintained almost $1 million a year the last 2 or 3 years, but we focused on growing YouTube and social media and a lot of different things that we've done. So it's been really different for me. Do apprentices go on call with the plumber they're working with? Absolutely. And Altamar Amparo Duran. How are you, sir? Welcome to the channel. I was planning to join the union. I'm from Rhode Island, but the local 51 stopped the apprenticeship until next year. Eager to start working and learning. What can I do in the meantime? What I would tell you is find a plumbing company. We talked about this earlier. Drive around the town you're in. Look for the big tower cranes if you want to do commercial. Look for the people running ads on television if you want to do residential. There's always something there to do. So, Dimitri, we've talked about people that that want to get into plumbing, stuff like that, and people that want to get into just any of the trades. Two different things. What if, number one, if I'm a plumbing company and I've heard you talk, look, I teach people how to do roofing. And a guy's sitting at home right now, he works for a plumbing company. He's like, man, things are kind of slow right now. But man, there's people needing roofs all over the place. How hard is it for someone to start a roofing company if literally they're sitting at home right now, they've never done it?
How desperate you are.
How bad do you want to work?
Well, when you have 5 kids and you have no plan B, you'll start. I started from nothing 3 times in the last 15 years. All 3 times I didn't have plan B. I didn't have money saved. I didn't have a plan B. So in my business, what I teach people, if you have plan B, you're going to fail. And I see it not only in trades, I see it everywhere in life, but in trades, the mistake I see people make is you go in plumbing and you say, well, I'm going to become a plumber, but it'll be like plumbing and fencing, plumbing and HVAC. And the reason is because you're not secure. Like in my business, roofing and fence or general contractor. And you ever seen those tradesmen who drive around town with the big magnets and they list every single service drive? And I tell people all the time, you're not going to get all of it. You're better off to do one thing. So why do we do it? Because we're not secure. We always think, what if I don't have work? Well, I tell you this, if you feel like you're not going to have work, you're not going to have work. It's the words are materialistic. And I know I sound like marketer or Tony Robbins, but it's true. Like it's 100% true. Because when you go and no matter with the attitude that no matter what, you're going to make it, you will make it. Are you going to have a lot of jobs right away? No. In the first year in business, in 2013, I did 900,000 in sales. Check this out. So I started a roofing business, but it was Storm Group. I named it Storm Group. It was the name of my company. I knew I want to be in Storm Group in the roofing business, but I knew that I'm not going to have enough jobs first year to support myself. So first year, I did 4 basement finishes because I knew how to paint. I knew how to install tiles and floors, all of that. I flipped a lot of 11 houses for another company. They gave me work orders, say go flip them. It was right after market collapsed. A lot of people still were investing in money, so 11 homes. I only did 10 roofing jobs first year in business. So first year, you might do not as many work as possible. So maybe you'll do second job. Maybe you'll do, I've done, cutting grass on a Saturday. So, but it was not my plan B. It was just like getting
whatever you have
to do for this to make happen. And people were laughing at me. My relatives were all, I sold my flooring business and so here's what I did. For 4 days, I would build my roofing business, and every Friday and Saturday, I still would do floors with my hands, like going in and installing floors, because I could make $500 a day installing floors. I was so fast. So every Friday and every Saturday, I would make $1,000. That was enough for me to pay my bills. And 4 days, I was building my mini empire. I remember my wife was telling me, and it was even when I was in school to get my license. And for first 4 days, I would be studying for, doing my education. My wife would ask me, "You're not going to work?" I'm like, "No, baby, I'm building this roofing business. I need this license." And she could not understand why I'm not working for 4 days while I'm studying. Guess what? You have a dream. You have to put everything together. So within 3 months, I was working those 4 days. I did $350,000 worth of gutter work in the first year in business, because that's the only jobs I could do to. I didn't require to do the permits, so I wasn't licensed yet. So I did a lot of gutter, and also it was close enough to roofing where I could leave the magnet on their fridge. And my goal was to be in every fridge of every gutter job I've done. So I would give them magnet, and magnet would says roofing and siding, nothing about gutters. Right. I said, "You hired me for this $500 job. If you have anyone who needs a roof, let them give me a call." And as a matter of fact, my first roofing job came from that magnet. I did $2,000 soffit and fascia job, and homeowner called me and said, "I have a friend who needs a roof," and it was $9,000 job. So you have to be willing to do small items, maybe repairs, maybe gutter cleanings, maybe plumbing, like whatever it takes around it. So later you can switch just to that.
And that's a neat way to do it, because you're getting out, you're getting in front of your customers. And it's like we were talking about earlier, the roofing repairs. There's a lot of roofing companies that will not do repairs. It's like, man, if you can build your relationship with that customer, man, you've got them for life. And it started with just a little repair. So it says, roofing guy, just curious. His name's Dimitri. Just curious. Do you do vent work up through the roof of houses and buildings? Snaking stoppages through the vent on the roof. Now, snaking stoppages through the vent, that's the plumber. But yeah, I mean, when y'all go out to houses and pull roofs off.
Yeah, we change venting a lot of times. So we do everything around the pipe. So we change like flashing. Sometimes we do extend. I mean, we legally we can't, because we're not licensed. We always call HVAC. We do have a lot of problems with them. Sometimes you get disconnected. You have moisture in it. So we do work a lot with plumbers. We don't do it. We usually just do pipes. Whatever you call them, pipe boots and stuff like that.
That's neat. And the thing is, look, most of us trades, we work together. It's like, it's funny, I had a electrician jump into one of my comments or videos last week or week before. He says, "Look, man, I've got plumbers that never pay for electrical work. I never pay for plumbing. We take care of each other. Got Paul Peck in here. Good to see you. And I don't know if you know Paul Peck. Paul Peck also met through social media. Met him at, actually, I guess we hung out at Vid Summit this last year. And you said you were at Vid Summit this last year, right? See, I didn't even see you. Man, it was crazy.
It was so big.
It was. It's getting bigger every year. But, the neat thing about it is met Paul. Paul's got a drywall channel.
Yep, I see that.
And, man, does great things over there. Paul, good to see you in here. Foxbox 923 says they're in Minnesota, so, y'all need to connect.
Sure.
And look, his channel's Roofing Insights. Jump over there, subscribe, ring the bell, see what he's doing. And like I said, guys, we're in the trades. What we do, what I do, roofers can learn from. What he does, I learn from. And you swap out the word roofing for plumbing, and we're doing a lot of the same stuff. Damian Ars is coming to the Dallas area. Actually, was not sure if you could take credit for things I've done. Learning that we can make something work is outstanding. Maybe you'll be hiring next year. You know what? Hopefully next year we are hiring and trying to grow and stuff like that. This is a good one. AB, do you get sick a lot for coming into contact of dirty water? Actually, no. It's really funny because, make sure that I've kind of gone through here and got all this. Yes. No. The funny thing is, look, a plumber does not just jump in dirty water, crawl around, and roll around in it or anything like that. And I don't know why that's not coming up marked. The funny thing is, and I know that y'all all seen the picture of the guy that he's laying on the sidewalk and, he's head deep, up to his waist in sewage water, working on repair and stuff like that. And the thing is look, plumbers come in contact with, class 3 water every now and then. But if you're ready for it, if you've got a mask, if you've got safety glasses, if you've got rubber gloves on, you've got everything on that you're supposed to have, you understand, like, it's just part of the business. Now, roofing is not near that bad because he's not going to come in with class 3 water. But you know what?
What's class 3 water?
Poop water, dirty water, brown water. But, as a plumber, I'm not on a roof when it's 9,500 degrees in Dallas all summer long. So there's good and bad things about every trade. How hot is it in Minnesota up on the roof in the middle of summer?
I mean, it can be everywhere.
Don't tell me it can be hot. I'm in Dallas.
It can be hot. Well, think about this. You're on the roof, so you're not in the shade.
You're closer to the sun.
Exactly. Well,
there's no blocking.
The material is also black, so the radiant heat. I mean, it can be easily 120, 130 on the surface. I mean, once you put that black tar paper down, like ice and water, it's hot. Yes. Yeah. So we can definitely have days. We have longer summer for work because we don't take times off for heat. I mean, we have days we take off for him, but in the wintertime we take 3. We have opposite.
Okay, so wait, y'all take days off because it's too hot?
Not days off, times off. Like just like in Florida, they would work like 5 in the morning to like 9 or 10. And then it will take middle of the day off, and they'll come back.
See, we're in Texas. We don't do that. We just work right through it.
No, you do.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't take no time off.
There are some. I know a lot of crews. They're not gonna work all day long.
Really? Okay, your roofing crews.
Roofing crews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that makes sense.
In the middle of the day, because you're gonna be dehydrated. Like you don't want to hurt your guys. So in the middle of the day, get off the roof. I mean, you can come back, or you can just work half a day.
And we try to do a lot of things like that. What we do is, if we've got jobs where we're getting guys up in an attic, we'll bring them in early. That way they can get in at 7 or 8 o'clock, be out by 9 or 10 to try and get them out as fast as possible. Yep. So got a deal here. Says, hey, Roger, I'm looking to get a first-year plumbing apprenticeship, but I have no construction experience. Is there a way to ease the employer's worries during my interview to still hire me? We all want to hire people that either have great experience or that have none at all so we can train them. But I talk to apprentices all the time about going through the interview process with a business owner. What could a young apprentice come in and interview with for you and say, look, I have no experience with roofing, but I really want to learn it. Man, to me, it's all attitude. I mean, you can tell if they really want to learn. I don't care if they've got experience or not. I can teach that young person something,
I agree.
male or female.
I agree 100%.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give you tips that actually happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Brilliant. This guy came to me, to my office. I told my office that was the most impressive person ever working in my office. You know what he did? So he was actually a roofing crew leader who was looking for more jobs for his roofing crew. So he was going to roofing companies looking for work. Here's the trick. So he walked in with a little baby in a car seat, probably like 2-3 weeks old, right? And I, I told my office, I said, "That's genius. Like, if you're looking for work, grab a baby. If you don't have a baby, go borrow a baby.
One,
Go find one. Walk in any office in the United States, like or anywhere, like wherever you live. So walk with a little baby. And say, I'm looking for work. I'm willing to do what it takes because the grown man walking in an office with a little car seat." With a baby, it's powerful and it shows you that he will do whatever. And another advice I would give: don't talk about your ambitious or what you want to do, what's there for you. I see it a lot. People come in and during the interview will be like, I'm a go-getter, I'll do this. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's about the value you bring. Talk about your accomplishments, what you've done in the past, maybe just for a little bit, but more ask them what their struggles, what do they want. Like, most business owners don't need much. Show up on time. Don't be on the phone all day. I mean, I know it sounds like too much to ask, but believe it or not, that's how it used to be. You're getting paid to work, not to be on your phone 24/7. And 8 hours a day, it's not that crazy. It's normal. It's okay to work 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I used to tell people in a union, all I want is 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. You want to get paid for a whole day? I want you to work the whole day. And I've literally had to let go apprentices because, I mean, literally, you pull up to a job and they're standing up beside the ditch and they're doing this all day long. And you ask the journeyman, it's like, what are they doing? It's like, well, they're paying Pokemon. It's like, what? It's like, God, why have y'all got him up here? What's going on? So, Will's got a link here. This is the link to Dimitri's channel. Jump over there, subscribe, ring the bell, say hello. When he puts videos up about plumbing and things like that, make sure that you understand, tell him, say, hey, I saw you over on Roger's channel and followed you over here, just to let him know. Mitch Goss says, 108 degrees in Austin last week, working on a new house. Glad to be doing pipe work on the ground floor instead of 40 feet up a ladder. And, man, I completely agree with you. And luckily, I never had to do a lot on the roof. I mean, maybe go up and drop flashings or something like that. But we'd climb up in the attic. We'd, run the holes up through the decks, things like that. There's a big difference being on the roof and being even up on the joists in the attic. What's the best way for plumbers not to fall off the freaking roof? I mean, are there any tips or tricks that are good?
One, think about your wife and your kids.
Every day.
Listen to your wife. Don't be macho. In our business, it happens all the time. Like, I cannot tell you how many guys would walk into my office like limping. I'm like, Jose, what happened? And he's like, I fell off the roof. Why? Like, usually stupid. I remember I have a guy who worked for me for 5 years named Jesus. I'm like, Jesus, what happened? And what? So it was. I remember last time it happened. It was a snowy day. He set up a ladder, didn't think about safety, and he slid and broke a rib. And I asked him, why didn't you tie yourself? And he's like, Dmitry, I'm a roofer. Why would I tie myself? So we are overconfident. When you go on heights, don't think about how good. I mean, I'm a pretty fit guy. I don't tie myself often. I can do handstand walks on my roofs. But if I show up in front of my employees, I'm going to probably make them accountable why they're not tie off, give them a little crap. I recently interviewed a lady who runs a roofing company in Atlanta, and she does something that most roofing business owner men don't do. She said when she arrives at the job, if she sees safety harness on the ground, not on the roof, she will pick it up. She'll go find out whose it is, who took it off, and she'll send him home. He's not working that day. And I think that's what we need. Like, I have all the safety equipment in the world. Do I use them? No. Why? Because I feel safe. Just don't be macho. A little bit extra caution, will not hurt you. If you're probably not going to use harness all the time, but at least make sure you follow. Many people know the rules. Like, for example, when you set up that ladder, make sure it's at least 3 feet above the roof line. People know the rule, they still don't do it. I support those rules. I think I'm actually with OSHA on fines. Like, if I would driving by and I see the ladder set up not properly, we have a owner of gutter company died 2 years ago in my city. He was in a store buying supply for gutters like that. The morning I've been there, he fell off 8 feet height. We have one in my town 3 weeks ago. I actually just shared fundraiser. Crazy story. 10.5 feet. He was harnessed, but harness failed, and a railing was set up. Something failed. Safety equipment essentially failed. He 10.5 feet. He fell down, head forward. He died on the spot. His immigrant, his wife and kids came in, didn't speak English. Have to identify him on the job. So I did a YouTube video asking people to support him. One of my, pretty much I got a message right away from the business owner, say, Dmitry, sorry to ask, but can you do it for us? And right away we brought awareness. We tried to get like $20,000 for funeral. So what people don't know is fatalities don't happen majority of them don't happen on skyscrapers. Usually people die from 8, 9, 10 feet height. Crazy.
Yeah, and it's bad because, I've been on big OSHA ran or OSHA really compliant jobs, and you drive by these houses and people are working off, scaffolds that you'd look at and you'd be like, oh my God, I would never get up there if I had to.
But you know why people die from 8, 9, 10 feet? Because nobody cares. You go in, it's like, oh, I'm just 8 feet off the ground. I don't have to do everything I'm trying to do for the life. Because when you go in a 3-story house, you're actually careful. You're actually grabbing yourself or you're strapping yourself. When you're 8 feet high, you don't care. You don't understand. It's not like stepping over on the ground.
Not at all.
You're going down, you're going to die.
Yeah, and there's a lot of videos in here are people talking about videos and learning and ordering books and things like that. And I think it's great. I'm going to jump up here, Pat Roberts. And I like this because it's funny. I had a company reach out to me from New York about, it's probably been 9 months ago. It was back before COVID. And it was the end of last year because I said, hey, after the first of the year, we're going to start looking at this again. But it says, do plumbers deal with fatbergs? And believe it or not, most plumbers probably don't even know what fatbergs are. But fatbergs are when people pour grease down a sink, when they put baby wipes, diapers, feminine products, condoms, anything at all down the drain. It's where it builds up in the sewer system and starts building up. And they literally reached out to me because, over in London, they had, I believe it was a fatberg as big as like 7 of their double stacker buses that was caught in their sewer system under the streets of London. And we've got them in Michigan. We've got them in New York. We've got a few of them across the United States. But they called me and said, hey, I know this will sound crazy, but if we did a TV show, would you go in there and look at these fatbergs? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm all over it. It's like stuff like that doesn't bother me at all. It's just, it's sewage. It's what I deal with. Great advice, Dmitry. Listen to your wife. Dang, who put that in? My wife. Come on, Julie. And Billy Rigsby says, seems like it's our only choice these days. It also depends on what you land on. Rebar is a big killer. Man, I'll tell you what, on commercial jobs, they've got to put the mushroom caps on. They've got to put a plate on it so, you eliminate the penetration. Falls are, of course, the biggest
in the roofing.
In the roofing industry. In plumbing, it's trenching. When plumbers and up in Minnesota, y'all have got a lot of basements, correct? Mm-hmm. So down here we don't. Everything, the concrete is poured directly on the slab. We go in, we tunnel up under the ground, and we've got 2 of them going on right now, which are some videos we'll be working on here in the next few days. But we tunnel up under the ground, we get up under to where the repair is, we make the repair, and The problem is, and we use professional dig crews. They come in. I mean, my holes are as big as that sign on the wall. Is 3 foot deep, 3 feet wide. They get everything excavated out. It's dug nice and neat and tight. We know what ground structure we're dealing with. We know that it's not gonna slope or cave or fall. But I mean, every year we hear about plumbers tunneling up under houses. They dig a hole by themselves. They get up under there. The trench collapses, and man, the plumber's dead. I would hate to fall off a roof, but I would really hate to be buried alive underground under a house. So, man, the thing is, people think about safety, no matter what it is, no matter what level you're at, whether you're on the roof or underground. Always, and I love the way you put it. Think about your wife. Think about your children. And if you think about them first on everything you do, man, no problems at all there. So we both talk. We both do a lot on social media, and I have, like I said, Paul's in here, Neil's in here. I have people jump in all the time that, luckily for me, they're really good connections that I have on social media. We got started in the past couple of years, or I did. You were a little bit before me, but the funny thing is, I have people reach out to me all the time and say, "Hey, I'm 40 years old. Is it too old to start learning plumbing?" Not social media, but plumbing. And I'm like, guys, look, I'm 50 and actually 54 when I started, and decided to learn social media. But I see people all the time that want to get into the trades, and not just plumbing, roofing, electrical, HVAC, all kinds of things. Do you think it's too old? Do you think there's an age? Because to me, age is a mindset. And I mean, I'm 60, and I really think that if I wanted to start plumbing right now, I could do it. Do you think that there's an age where, look, it's too old to try to become a roofer or a plumber or whatever?
I don't want to plug my channel, but on this one, I want to answer. We recently did,
Plug your channel. Get it in there. That way
recently we did a company tour, a company called Advantix. So if you go to my channel, just do Advantix Roofing Insights. So one of my favorite videos to make is when I go to businesses and I highlight their stories. So Advantix is a company in Chicago. They did 3.5 million in the roofing business last year. They're on track to do 5 million. The owners are in their 60s. Number one lead generation for them is Facebook. Two old men, and I call them old respectfully, like my dad's age. Learn how to do videos. They bought a course or two, how to do. They found a mentor essentially, how to do Facebook marketing videos. Who did 100 videos plus. And when you interview with them, when you come to their business and you see they have this fancy car, they just spend like $50,000 on it cash, and you're like, wow, that's impressive. So two guys started a business in 2016, 4 years ago, absolutely killing them. I know them for all 4 years. So you're never too old. And another thing, I do CrossFit. That's my sport. I see guys in my gym in their 50s, and I have one guy, he's 55. He is almost my dad's age. And when I see six-pack on a 55-year-old, I'm like, man, that inspires me, right? So you're never too late to start exercising. You're never too late to start learning, and you're definitely not too late to start a business. I started YouTube channel and social media at the age of 34, and I'm immigrant. At the age of 21, I did not speak any English. Think about it. I learned at the age of 21, I learned first word, it was husband. And I remember really because I opened family as a topic and decided to learn, all the words like mother, father. And I'm like, when I got down to husband, I'm like, are you sure it's English, not German? Because that's my level at the age of 21. And here I am at the age of 37, teaching Americans how to do business. Is crazy. Like all my kids were born here. I'm a first generation immigrant. In 15 years, I went from sleeping in the car to running 5 businesses, never been fired in my life, never filed any bankruptcy. I sold businesses. I teach people. I have my own conference. I have YouTube channel. I'm not bragging, but I learn that it's never too late to learn. And I think I'm only getting started too.
You know, the good thing is he's Russian, so he never heard the phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yes, you can.
Because we hear it all the time, but yeah, you're right. You can.
It's all mental.
It is. And, you know, we were talking earlier on one of the deals that we did about me hearing Michael Stelzner talk about social media marketing conference. And then literally a couple of weeks later, I'm on the treadmill and I'm watching my iPad because I used to get up and turn YouTube on every morning, put on headphones and walk 4 miles an hour at a level 4. And I'd do it for an hour. So I'd put in my 4 miles, then I'd cool down for a little bit. And I'm watching Gary Vee one morning, and he's on stage talking. He holds up his phone. He says, look, I don't care if you're 20, if you're 50, or you're 70, you can do this. And, you know, I told Dimitri earlier, I stepped off the side of the treadmill, and I'm looking at the screen, and I hit the 15-second rewind, and I had to hear him say it again. And I thought, I'm going to do this. And the bad thing is, I needed Gary Vee sitting on his butt in New York to tell me I could do that. Mm-hmm. But that's what it took. It took something for me to say, wow, he's talking to me. Mm-hmm. When we do videos, we talk to one person because we understand, look, that one person listening, if we can change that one person's life, it's amazing. And I love it because this is one that I get asked a lot is, look, is it too old? And it's not. If you think you can do it and you want to bad enough, you know, like we talked about earlier, you did whatever it took. Mm-hmm. And I have people tell me all the time, like, I cannot quit doing what I'm doing and start plumbing to be an apprentice. It doesn't pay enough. Well, you know what? When I started out, it didn't pay enough. But I built fences. I built redwood decks. I tended bar. I did so many different things. I became a bouncer, a bodyguard, and security. I did so many things until I got to the point that I made the money that I needed to make. Then I could say, now I'm going to sit home. I'm going to spend time with my wife, spend time with my kids, go on vacations, all the fun things.
No, you're not. You're a workaholic.
I know,
you're going to keep working.
I know, for a little while. But I'm getting closer, and I'm getting closer. Jump in here real quick. Billy Rigsby, man, you've got some great stuff. I do. I appreciate you coming in. This is something you can get into and you can retire into because if you're at the age where you can retire now, you can start learning a plumbing career and then you've got something else. And I knew a guy that was in the elevator union for a long time, reached his retirement age, got out, joined the Plumbers union as an apprentice, got out, and he had 2 pensions coming in, so it was great. CMH Plumbing Solutions in here. Hello. Julie says, your life can change in an instant. It's worth it to take a minute to be safe. Absolutely. Says your story is amazing. I love that. Man, he can light a fire under anybody, so that's a good thing. But that's what he teaches is, look, you too can do this. He doesn't teach, hey, I did it, just watch me. He teaches you how to do it. And to me, that's big.
Can I plug in one more thing?
Absolutely.
I don't looks like you have UK audience and everywhere else. I just want to say, share one angle in this country as an immigrant. I just want to say it's the best country in the world, and I'm gonna say it publicly. I share it often. I came here in 2005. In 15 years, I never felt as a second grade, and I know there's a lot of countries in the world where there's, like immigrants and there's everyone else. There's, I have a lot of friends who moved to other countries, and I came here. Of course, there's going to be comments. Like, for example, if I fire American, like first thing he's going to say, probably it's usually hate comments like, that's not how we do things in America. Maybe in Russia it is. So people do use my accent in hate comments a lot on YouTube. People do use it like every time you have arguments with someone, but it's a low kick, it's low ball. Like, people like, this is America, this is not communism, right? I don't care for that. But as far as work goes, I never ever felt like I'm a second grade. Nobody will say, I'm not going to pay you this price because you're not worth it. Right. In this country, people will treat you for the value you provide. The more you do, the bigger problems you solve. I've done $10 an hour jobs, $6 an hour jobs. People pay me $450 an hour when I was doing ice dam removal, and I was treated as a hero. Like, and I couldn't believe I could charge those rates. Like, I have seasonal business. 2 years ago, we did $250,000 in 6 weeks. I paid my guys really well. The point is, when I arrive with a $5,000 steamer with my accent, and I tell people, hey, we're gonna remove those icicles. People see it's dangerous job. Nobody wants to do it. But a lot of people will say, well, like, you're doing great money, blah, blah. I'm like, well, it pays well. Do you want to do it? And they're like, heck no. They would rather be inside watching TV. And a lot of people would quit such a job. So the point is, in this country, being different is not a problem. I see a lot of immigrant friends who are like, whether you're Latino, Russian, Chinese, it doesn't matter. Being different is a good thing, and people will pay you for the value you provide.
Look, I love that because it's really neat that and he mentioned it earlier, what value you bring. And that's what it all boils down to. And we all have the ability to learn more to increase our value. Jedi of the Republic says, hey, Roger, have you ever thought about doing a water heater install video here in San Antonio? Would love an in-depth video on the install, looking at installing mine and want to do it right. We have looked at that, and we may end up doing a complete install on one. I've done a lot of the videos. Bradford White gave me some amazing, and didn't give me, they did it for me, cut open some water heaters to where I can show people what's inside of a regular water heater. And I love that because, I'd been plumbing 35 years before I'd ever seen the inside of a water heater like that.
I was impressed with that when I walked in.
Man, it was like, this is real. And people are like, oh my gosh. and I show those videos. So it's really, really neat. And I love that. John Cervantes says, however, I will not stop. I'll be doing confusing ed classes to get my foot in the door. I'll be taking HVAC, plumbing, and electrical entry-level certifications eventually, and join a union, hopefully. And John, look, you didn't land the union apprenticeship. Okay. And look, the union is not everything, and it's not the only thing. The neat thing is, and do y'all have union roofing contractors up in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's not popular. Yeah, we definitely do.
And it's not popular here in Dallas. I don't even know if there are any union roofing contractors. But, the thing is, look, John, you can learn anything you want to do, and it's amazing. Zachary Thomas, I talked about the PHCC apprenticeship earlier. I think PHCC is a good program. Like I said, I talked to one of the big national leaders this weekend. And so, look, the first thing I would do is change the name of it to REPHCC. I believe roofers and electricians should be involved in it. And you create an organization that literally has the ear of the government. And I hate to tell y'all this, but we're all in politics, whether we want to be or not. It's that they license our trades, they license the cities, our permits, everything. It's all political, and eventually you've got to learn how to deal with it and how to do better. John Cervantes, thanks for introducing me to the trades. You are more than welcome. CMH Plumbing says, age is just a number related to your mindset. You can accomplish anything. Just put your mind to it. God bless all. God bless you, brother. Julie says, so true, Dimitri. I'll tell you what, Julie came in my office earlier, and, Dimitri, we've had lunch today. We've shot video today. We've been hanging out and doing a lot of different things. And he goes in the training room and works on his computer. And Julie comes in and she says, I really like this guy. He is really good. I said, look, I told you that 2 years ago. I met this guy, and he brings value in what he does. And to me, that's really what it's all about. People don't buy what you're selling. They buy you. And when you add value, care about your customer, and show respect, you'll win every time. I love that. So here's one, too. Advice for anyone looking to get into plumbing. Just stay honest and do the right thing. Keep your mind on your goals, and you will achieve them. And just like I have been saying all day, you can take out the word plumbing, put in roofing, put in electrical, put in HVAC, any one of the trades that we're in. And you teach other than just roofers. Mm-hmm. You have not just tradespeople, but you have business people from outside of the trade saying, hey, I want to learn to do what you're doing. I mean, that pretty much says it right there. Keep your mind on your goals. You'll achieve them. do the right thing and always take care of your customers. Is there any other great advice to help people that, we have people in here that are in the trades and want to open their own company one day?
Sure.
What's the best advice?
Wake up early and go. I don't know.
Be
I'm
the
just
hardest
kidding.
worker in your city.
No. It's not even that. It's just be yourself. I see people try. There's so much copycats going on. I see people already being trying to copy me all the time. So when you open a business, don't try to copy someone else's business. It's good to learn from other people's mistakes, but at the same time, figure out what works for you. Figure out, like, for example, if you work for a company and you see they're unethical, write down what you don't like, or write down what you don't agree with, and make a statement that you will never do that. Like if your boss is lying to people, or maybe they're charging for stuff they shouldn't be charging. I don't know what's going on in the plumbing world, but for me, when I saw how dirty my industry was, I wanted to be different, and I wanted to stay true to myself. Don't be ashamed. Like it goes for social media and a business in general. People don't like fake people. I don't believe personally in the ice breaking. I believe when the moment you knock at a door, came for an appointment, people know you're there to sell. You don't need to tell them I'm here for appointment, right? But I also don't believe that you have to be forced and talk to them about, pictures on the walls and stuff and their bicycles and all of that BS too. You want to provide a value. So I remember we bought into a few sales programs, and I remember I would still run appointments with my sales guys, and I would leave the office, go to the homeowner's house, spend there like at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock I would be back with a check down payment. And my sales manager at the time would look at me and was like, Dimitri, it's impossible. How in the world did you sell the job? I'm like, I did not go there, and you're talking about $7,000-8,000 job, and I would say I did not went there to bullshit them. I knock at the door, say, I'm here to measure your roof. Let me show what I have. Go on a roof, takes 5-10 minutes to measure a job. Come in the house, show them what I have, give me a recommendation. Roof need to be replaced. Homeowner was ready to do the job. Boom, right there. It doesn't happen all the time, but the point is, when you are, like, even how you answer phone calls in your companies, I train my receptionist that your limit is 2 minutes. If you spend 5 minutes on the phone, you're missing phone calls now because you're talking about weather. Do you think your customer cares about all those talks? Hello, how can I help you? Boom, boom, boom. Straight to the point, straight to business. You're the professional. You're not going to go to the hospital and spend 30 minutes in line talking about your life. You're going to schedule appointment, go to next. So be professional. Saving time would be my number one advice in everything. Save their time when you make videos. If you can make 5-minute video, don't make 15-minute video. If you can sell the job in 1 hour, don't try to do 2 hours. I see sales guys trying to spend 3 or 4 hours in the house until people buy. Hate that.
And I like that because, and it's funny. I know plumbers that say, I can go in and I walk in, as soon as I walk in the house, they're already scanning the walls. Oh my God, you've got a Harley? And man, they want to spend 20 minutes talking to you about Harley Davidsons. And it's like, well, do you even ride? And they're like, well, no, but they don't know that. And I mean, it's like, I had some friends tell me about a plumber, and they said he would literally walk into people's houses and he'd see like Native American stuff. He'd say, oh my God, I love this because I'm Native American. Not a Native American drop of blood in his body. And I'm like, man, people like that, it's just, look, that's not the way that I wanted to do business. And it's funny because I was talking the other day about a real estate agent and his father, because the real estate agent here in town, I go speak and do training for some of his realtors. And I'm in talking one day, and I'm doing a training on slab leaks and leak detection and whatnot. His dad is speaking later, and his dad is a financial advisor. And he's talking to these new real estate agents coming in, and he says, here's the one piece of advice I can give you that I hope it always sticks with you. Fall in love with every customer you have. Because if you'll fall in love with them, you'll always do the right thing. Meaning you'll never try to rip them off. You'll never suggest something you wouldn't do yourself. Try to fall in love with them and take care of them like you mean it. And it's funny because I've always looked at it like every customer's house that I walk into, they're paying for my vehicle. They're paying for my food at home. They're paying for my wife's clothes. They're paying for dinner tonight. And I respect that and I value that. So and you know, we've talked about plumbers that do the wrong thing or sell people stuff they don't need. And I've always wanted to take amazing care of everybody I've walked in and talked to. There's a lot of trades out there that aren't like that, though.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is customer always right?
No.
How many bad customers do you have who complain, take advantage of the contractors?
I've had some. And I mean, one of my first bad reviews, and I mean, literally, I have the emails, the texts, the phone calls. I have the documentation. Look, I showed up, told this lady, look, we're going to do what we can to take care of you. I went down to pull the permit, and it turns out her house was in a historical society. Never told me. They said it's going to take you 7 days to pull a permit, and I called her. I said, "Ma'am, look,
There's nothing you can do."
And she says, "Look, I have to have gas on." I spent an entire day driving back and forth from City Hall to the city of Dallas to make sure everything got done. And she just kept saying, "Look, do what you have to do." I'm like, "Okay, but look, I'm still in line. I'm still here. I'm still here." I ended up charging her $500 extra for me to spend the entire day taking care of her permit. The price was exactly what I told her it'd be. I sent her the invoice that evening. And when I got home that night, my phone rings and I answer it. And this was when my office was at home. It wasn't up here. And she says, "I am sitting in front of my computer right now. If you do not discount my ticket, I'm going to give you a bad review."
That's terrorism.
And I just said, "Make sure you spell my name right." And that was it. It's like, look, I'm not going to do it. And sure enough, a few weeks later, I get a message from one of the companies we talked about earlier. And they're like, "Look, this lady gave you a bad review. Would you like to review it?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely," or dispute it. And I sent them emails. I screenshotted every text where I told her, "This is the price. This is this. This is this. This is this." Sent it all back to them. And they said, "Okay, we're gonna leave your rating where it is as a A+ rating, so you know exactly who I'm talking about." I said, "Okay, but I sent you everything, and you even said I'm right. Are you going to take that off there?" They said, "No, but if you'll sign up and be a member, we will."
Wow.
And I'm like, "I'm sorry, but you're
That's
not
extortion too.
I'm sorry, but you're not getting my money." And then you go back and you do a search on them, and I've only been able to find it once, but I was able to go back and search them through their own system to find out what their rating was. Their rating was a C-. And I'm like, "Wait, you've got so many bad reviews. You've got a C-. I've got an A+, but you want me to pay to be a member so you can take that off my thing? Thank you, but no thank you."
You know, my number one actual advice would be, despite stories like this, because I see big trend in the roofing world now, probably in construction in general. Our theme for this year, like at the Roofing Insights at my conference, customer service matters. So I see so many guys, like you're not going to please everyone. I would say if you please 90% of the people, you're golden. You'll never see 5-star reviews only on Amazon seller, on restaurants, on hotels. There's always going to be people. If you can maintain 4.5 stars almost everywhere, you're golden. But here's what I see as a trend, and it's a dangerous trend. I hate it. I see a lot of roofers, they go in and they make public statement and personal statement. "I hate customers. People are stupid," or never make bad comment, never generalize people. I see guys all the time like, "Oh, I hate these customers." I have a friend, he's very successful in South Carolina, but he has a hard time collecting checks from homeowners, insurance checks. So he does the work and there's always delays, and people do take advantage of us. But when you go and say, "I hate this business, I hate people," it's just a really bad mental place to be, and it will mess you up. You will hate your job, and sooner or later you will either quit, file bankruptcy, or worst case scenario, it will get in your brain, and what you're going to start doing, you're going to start doing tricks to other people. You're going to start screwing you. If you believe that people are bad, you will do bad things to your employees, to your sales guys. And I see it all the time. You get screwed 10 times, now you start screwing people. Never change. Never change who you are, because you know 2-3 people will mess up with you. Don't let it mess with your brain.
No, and I love that. And that's a good way to put it, because look, and like I said, that has been the worst customer that I've ever had. And not even the worst customer. Dealing with the customer was fine. I mean, man, I believe in customer service, and I understand at the end of the day, man, that's how you keep people. And even when she did that, I mean, don't get me wrong, it upset me, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna fight it. But it's like I didn't go over there and throw rocks at her house. I didn't try to go rip the job out that we did or anything. It's like, at the end of the day, you know what? There's people like that. I still believe, and we had this conversation with our guys this morning. Every customer's house we walk into, we need to fall in love with them. We need to take amazing care of them because they do. They afford us the lifestyle that we live. And we've talked about what kind of numbers your business does, what kind mine do. We can't get to those numbers without taking care of our customers right. And I go look at my reviews. I've got 4.7, 4.8, somewhere around in there.
Same here, 4.8.
Yeah, and it's a good problem to have. And it's funny because I remember walking into a social media marketing conference one time, and there was somebody there that had seen my videos and stuff like that, and they said, I got a question. They said, no, it was a networking event, but they had seen me and they had seen my channel, and they said, I got a question. How do you make the bad reviews go away? And I said, what do you mean? And he says, look, man, I've seen your video, so I went and looked at your website. How do you make the bad, the 1-star, the 2-star reviews go away? I said, you don't get them. And he looked at me and says, what do you mean? Everybody gets them. And I said, no.
People don't get it.
No, you don't. And it blew my mind because, he literally thought I had figured out a way to make those go away. But if you treat your customers right and you do the things that you talk about, that I talk about, you don't get reviews like that.
And you also maximize your good reviews. So even if you get them, it's a small percentage. When you're really good and you keep getting good ones, bad ones is just coming your way. It's a matter of time. You're not going to please them. But if you never ask for good review and now you have 2 bad ones and you only have 4 good ones, boom. But if you have 10 good ones and 2 bad ones, you're still pretty good.
And the good thing is, and look, even the bad review, I went in and replied. And that's another huge thing that I don't think a lot of people do is, look, like you said, everybody's going to get a review that's not a 5-star. And even if I get a 4-star review, maybe it's like, okay, look, I don't know what I could have done to make it a 5. We try to do this, we try to do that. And normally, even that, I will say, hey, look, thank you for giving me a 4-star review. Man, I wish we'd have done more or done better or whatever. But if I do get a bad review, I'm going to say, hey, look, we tried to make you aware of this. We tried to make you aware of this. We tried to do the best thing that we could. If there's anything we can do to make it better, please let us know. And you'd be surprised how many people just go and say, you're a sorry piece of, because you gave me a 3-star review or a 5 or a 2, and man, I tried everything in the world, and you're just not a good customer, and you're this, and you're this, and you're this. And it's like, man, what are you showing the public what kind of person you are? And I don't know. I've never understood that.
Yeah.
So you're leaving here tonight. You're headed to Denver. You interview tradespeople all across the United States. So tell us about who you're going to see.
Her name is Becca Switzer. She has a YouTube channel. Pretty much she just helps roofing contractors mainly with the insurance billing, Xactimate. So she builds insurance companies. She has a program. She used to be in roofing sales before. Just tried to connect with her for 2 years. I think her channel is like 9 or 10,000. I don't think she's trying to grow it, but she has pretty good influence, like really good group online and stuff like that. I know her for about 3 years, just like with you. It's all about time. It's hard to. I'm a in person, so for me, I have to jump on the plane, travel. I don't believe in Zooms. I don't believe in podcasts, phone calls. For me, this is where it is.
And the good thing is, and you told me earlier, look, I don't even like doing live, but here you are.
Yeah.
And brother, you've done great.
For you?
No, it ain't for me. No, you've done great. So, and look, I told everybody earlier, and I'll get some more comments that I'll get to, but, I told everybody earlier, look, we'll put a link into his channel earlier. It's Roofing Insights. Jump in there on YouTube. Facebook, same group, Roofing Insights. Mm-hmm. Jump over there. If you're a plumber and you say, hey, look, I saw you and Roger, man, I just want to see what all y'all do. He's good for all the trades. And that's why I asked him, look, will you hang around and be on the live with me? And we're going to get out of here in just a few minutes. He's actually got to go get on his second plane today to be where he's supposed to be tomorrow. But the cool thing is what we're trying to do for the trades, and it's not just me. It's people like you. It's people like Matt Reisinger. It's people like Paul Peck. We are literally construction cronies. I got another one that jumps in here a lot that's really good. But the neat thing about it is we're trying to help people. And it's funny, I told you about somebody reached out to me from Plano, which is about 10 miles north of me, and said, look, I really wish you'd teach me social media, but I know you won't. And I'm like, okay, why wouldn't I? And they're like, well, you're in my service area. It's like there's 8 million people in my service area. I can't get to all of them. And if I can teach you, if you're a good guy, and I mean, you don't just recommend every roofer that calls you, do you? And I don't recommend every plumber that calls. It's like, look, if I can help you, be more than happy to. But I also want to talk to you about what kind of business you are. I want to look at your reviews. Do you have 1-star reviews all over the place? And now you're calling me saying, hey, help me do social media. No. I mean, what's the point? Man, Dimitri, thank you for being here. I really, really do appreciate it. And I've got some videos coming out. Y'all go subscribe to his YouTube channel. I've got videos coming out. Where are you going to put those? The ones we did today. Are they going on YouTube, Facebook?
Roofing Insights YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay. So, guys, make sure you jump over there and subscribe. It really is. It's a big deal. What he does, I love watching. I remember when I jumped over and, man, I thought it was live. It was Marcus Sheridan. And I'm in there, and, man, I'm leaving comments. I'm like, man, nobody's saying nothing. And it was, I guess you had done a premiere of that video. And, look, I'm a Marcus Sheridan fan, as is Dimitri. And, you know, there's so many people that we learn from. And like I said, Paul Peck's in here. The Urban Explorer Neil's in here. There's so many people that I learned from in this. And Dimitri's been one that's been really good for me. But it started by networking. It started by sitting and talking and visiting and thinking, wow, this guy is really doing good things. So I did. I want to say just thanks. Make sure y'all run over and subscribe. I just want to say, Jason G, hello, good to see you. Nate Barrett, good to see you in here. Good luck on the union application. I don't remember what city you told me you're in, what local you were trying to apply to, but I do appreciate you being in here. The Toto Drake with the canister fill valve, I have no problem with the Toto Drake. I've actually got one back here. I believe it's a Toto Drake. I'm going to do a video of that and a Toto bidet toilet seat. Man, those bidet toilet seats, I got to tell you, especially when toilet paper was hard to find, man, I had no problem. I'm good. Barney Films 85 just jumped in. That's a good thing. Just got to watch the end. I'll have to watch it from the beginning. Happy to see a guest on the live show. Man, we are happy to have him here. So anyway, Roofing Insights, guys, make sure you jump over there. Make sure you subscribe. Ring the bell. That way you'll see when he puts out content. And also the training that he puts on, it's not really just for roofers, is it?
No.
Guys, you can learn a lot of things over there. So anyway, guys, I hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed tonight. Jump over there, leave a comment, say hello, let him know where you saw him, and hopefully we'll get to do this all again. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.